everyone, it's Maria from J'adore le papier. Thanks for joining me today. This is part 3 of the Advent calendar creating your own. I'm actually going to be creating some shelves just to organize my boxes and just to make it a little bit easier so that when they're removing their boxes during Christmas, they can actually just restack them easily without everything tumbling out. Be sure to check the chapters below because I will add one origami towards the end, and that's actually creation of a hollow spine book or a journal. Of course, as journal makers, I think it would be cute to have some books on our bookshelf. So I'll go ahead and do high speed for most of the shelf creation, and then I'll start up into the origami with some instructions. When you're creating your little dividers and you don't have a piece that you can fold over, just like the first shelf that I created using one chipboard that I just bent, this piece here, while I'm covering it and decorating it, I'll actually leave 1/2 inch to 1 inch on each side that I'll be gluing to the box and fold it over. So that essentially becomes your hinge or your attachment to the box. Just a helpful hint before you glue down your divider, place the box or boxes that will go into that section down in there just so that you leave enough room, wiggle room, so that they can still move the boxes in and out. One last tip, before you finalize all your shelving, place all your buttons, sew them down, punch all of your ribbon holes so that you can cover them up with the lips or the attachments from the shelves that you create. So there are 17 on this side, 18, Okay, now that we've organized, I've added a shelf on this side of the Advent as well. So we've got 3 compartments and then 2 compartments. I might put one more divider before all is said and done, but we'll see. And this teeny tiny booklet as well. I actually purchased this from Tattered Edges because one, I wasn't sure if I was going to have time to make tiny altered books. But she makes these teeny tiny book ornaments that are actually done in pretty close to the traditional bookbinding way. She uses a machine, but then she does use the bookend tape as well as the bookend papers here. So that's super cute because this looks like a little bookshelf when it's standing up. And you know how we have our tiny books on top of other books like that. So today I'm going to show you these booklets, which are actually boxes on the inside. They do require 3 pieces of origami paper, solid color, just to make the tutorial easier. And we'll get started. Okay, so we're actually going to start with 3 6-inch squares for this tutorial. But again, you can adjust your square sizes. So if you want your little book box, gift boxes to be a little bigger, go with 7-inch square, 8-inch square. So it's going to be 3 pieces, 1 for the cover, 1 for the bottom box, 1 for the top box. Actually, I'm going to show you the cover 2 ways. The first way is the traditional origami way. There are a lot of folds, and it might seem overwhelming at first. But there will be a second way where you can possibly measure it after your boxes are done. Because if you'll notice, it comes down to 4 folds on the cover. Top, bottom, to give you the length of the box. And then you're going to have a little bit of width to give you your hollow spine. And then 2 more folds on the ends. You're going to start by folding up in half. You're not going to fold all the way, but actually what you're going to do is just crease and crease on 2 ends. You're going to use that center line. I hope this shows up a little on camera. You're going to use the center line to then help create the next 2 creases. So take the bottom again and fold up to that center line and crease both ends. These 2 new creases will be the new line that you're going to fold up to again for the 3rd time. So take your bottom, fold up to the new crease line, and put creases on the ends. 3 lines here that we've just created. Flip that over. There's your center line, and we're going to do the same thing from the bottom again. So crease up or fold up, crease on the ends. One, two, three, 4, 5 crease lines. You're going to take that, flip it on its side so that these lines are now vertical, and you're going to do the same thing over again. So bottom to the very top of the paper. Take the bottom and fold up to that center crease line. So here are all the new crease lines. You'll have 5 lines across the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You'll notice the middle is a little wider. And then same thing on the sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I'm going to take the bottom side and we're going to fold and actually make a fold line up to that first crease line, the very top crease line. So it looks like that. Open that up, and we're taking the bottom and we're going to go to that other top crease line and fold. There. So now you have 2 really strong crease lines. One right there from this line, and then one on the bottom when we went up this crease line here. So for those of you that are more visual, here's your band line that we've just created by folding up and then folding up. Okay. This band line still running horizontally is take the bottom of your page and fold up to that band line or crease. You don't have to draw these lines on your own paper. I'm just doing it for the tutorial. So 1 crease, and then this bottom now folds up to that other crease line. That's basically creating the height of your book. So we're almost there. Band line is now vertical again. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the bottom of your page and fold it up to this crease that was right here. But you're not going to fold it all the way. You're just going to make a crease up to that crease line, just like we've been doing. So pinch at the edges, and it made a new crease halfway to that first one. What you're going to do is you're going to make a tiny little fold, narrow fold up to that crease line. There's the first fold. Same thing. I'm going to fold the bottom up to this crease line, this very first crease line, and pinch. So it creates a new crease line, and then I'm going to fold up to that newest crease line. So there's your second narrow fold, which is essentially these right here. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and glue down these narrow edges. For me, It's a little bit out of order, but I just want them to sit nice and clean and tight. It's just easier for me when I'm folding. Okay, so we're going to take the bottom where we just created that miniature fold, flip it over, and you'll see that there was that original crease line that we made before we folded. Take that crease line and take it to the second visible crease line up here. See how I'm doing that? And pinch. And do the same over here. That's crease line meets that old crease line over here. And pinch. Instead of just pinching, I'm actually going to fold that down, all the way down. So, hard crease. Flip it over, open that up. Find that faux crease that we made earlier before folding that narrow strip. Bring it up to the second line, second crease. Align it both sides and fold. Here. Flip it back so that your lines are horizontal. That band is horizontal. And remember earlier we had just folded our bottom and top to those center lines. And suddenly, because of these new folds that we just made, you have the center of your book cover. So I'm just going to take my pencil and just kind of give that a nice roll in the center, just to kind of round out your hollow spine a little bit more. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue the top and the bottom. It might be easy as you practice to be able to align your digital so that you don't have to reprint your digital to get the book cover. But for me, if I don't get the origami folds just right and I don't align the book cover perfectly, I just go ahead and print it to smaller size and then glue it right on top. But anyway, so let's keep going. So for the boxes, you might recognize actually the folds that we'll be making from my earlier tutorial. Because I want the color or the printed side to be exposed, just like this yellow is, or just like this gray bottom cover. If I want the color or the pattern to be exposed, I'm going to leave that top side up. Bring your bottom corner up to meet the top, fold to create a triangle, and do the same opposing fold. Bottom up to the top, fold to make a triangle. We're going to make some creases now. Take the bottom of your bottom corner, bring it to the center line that you just created a fold on. Pinch just to create a crease, not a whole fold, and it created this crease right here. Okay, at this crease, bring your bottom corner up to that crease and pinch or push. Don't fold it all the way. And it's created this crease, which we're going to take the very tip of our diamond shape and fold the tip all the way up to that crease line. So you have one that looks just like this. And we're going to do the exact same thing with the top piece. So now you have two matching pieces. We're going to do bottom, top. So we're going to start with the bottom first. Okay, so for the bottom, this is going to be the easier, faster one. We've got one folded end right here, triangle, exposed triangle. we're going to do the other side. Here. We're going to fold up to here. So one fold, and then you're going to take the top and bring it down to that center crease line as well and match them up. So now you have a piece of origami that looks like this. This should look familiar if you've made the other boxes. Long side here, bottom, we're going to fold up to this center line. But when you're doing that, make sure that you're not doubling up too much on your paper or creating a bubble. So fold it exactly, crease. So far, that's how it looks. Flip it over and do the same thing. Bottom, up to that center line. Make sure your paper doesn't bubble, but it lays flat. To the center and fold. So you have a piece like this. Take it perpendicular like this, up and down, open the sides. Notice how we are now forming the base of our box. Take these two colored points and bring them into the center so that it almost looks like a closed envelope. So center, bottom triangle here, and do the same on this exposed side, this color side, and bring it in. So now you have something that looks like a closed envelope. Then you're going to notice that you've got these crease lines on the top and bottom, but we're going to create crease lines on the shorter sides. So flip it so that these triangles on the side are top and bottom. And we're now going to make the folds. Bottom, fold it up to the tip of that triangle. And crease. Make a full fold. Flip it over. We're going to make this short side of the box. Take the bottom edge and fold up to the tip of this triangle. And there. Sometimes. Okay. There. Now we actually have folds of our box. So I'm going to open that up. You don't have to, but if it helps you visually, you can use a pencil or a pen in my case. You'll notice that when you do write in your perpendicular lines to help you create your shape, it will show up inside the box. So you can use a pencil to do this, but I like to outline for the tutorial the shape of the box. And you'll notice the center line down makes two even bars. See these creases that are formed around it, roughly just under an inch? Go ahead and just reinforce those creases to the outside. Just reinforce it to the outside just so you can see it, because then those become your edges of the box. So we're going to fold these back down so that your shape looks like this, and you still see your box in the center there. Flip this over and go ahead and glue these two sides down, these two triangles overlapping this way. Okay. Flip it back over so that your box is vertical. Bring your sides up just so you remember where your sides are. Okay. Now remember, in the other tutorial we actually made diagonals to fold in our corners. So you're basically taking the corner of your box out to the corner of this shape. See that? All four sides. And again, you don't have to draw this when you're actually doing this yourself, but a cheat sheet that I found is It's actually almost there because of the way the paper is folded on the back side. So I just follow the diagonals of the paper that we just glued down, and it kind of magically forms your diagonal perfectly for you from corner of the box to the corner of this page. See, if you flip it over and kind of follow that line, when you flip it over, you might have to adjust it. It creates a diagonal from the corner of your box to the outer corner of this page. So there's 2 creases there. You'll want to make the diagonals on this side too, to corner. So I just pinch and pinch. So the person that created this origami, she actually folds her boxes out, because you'll recognize these diagonals from the earlier tutorials where you pinch in your diagonals so that it looks like you've got an envelope on the inside. You probably recognize that from the other tutorial. You can go ahead and do that this way, but if you fold to the inside, it'll leave your exposed white sheet. So what she does is she actually folds to the outside. So push your box edges in, but let the diagonals fold out. So push in with your thumbs, take your forefingers, and allow the diagonals to fold outwardly like this. If you want to, just to help you out, you could glue the inside here just to keep those diagonals pinched together. You don't have to do this step. I'm just doing it for the tutorial. But you're pinched to the outside so it looks like the top of a kite, and your wings are on the outside. Now you're going to fold backwards. So instead of folding inward, fold backwards so you form 2 diamonds on the back side. Or excuse me, 2 triangles on the back side. And it looks like the inside of an envelope on the outside of the box. So these triangles that we just folded backwards, I'm going to go ahead and glue them down. Just and tuck away to form the outer edge or the short edge of your box. And then glue the envelope down towards the bottom of the box. There's your first outer edge of your box. Flip it over and we're going to do the same thing. Just kind of find your box shape. It's easier now because the other side is glued. See how when you push in your box sides, the wings of this kite naturally want to fold outward already. So if you want to, you could go ahead and glue those outer corners down just to help you make clean folds. You don't have to. You could just pinch and fold backwards if you're comfortable doing that. And see how this interior is solid colored, the outside creates the inside of your envelope. Down your triangles on the outside. And if your box doesn't fit perfectly into a nice tight corner, there. Before you glue it down permanently, just make sure that they match up fairly well. So that's how it looks. There you go. So that's how the bottom looks. And there's your top. And just clean up your edges. There's your bottom. We're going to do almost the identical thing for the top. This one's going to be a little smaller than the top, so we'll set that aside. Here's your other sheet. So for this one, we're going to only start with the one exposed white triangle on the bottom. We're going to bring this exposed white triangle up to the center line and fold. Make a sharp crease. Bring your right and left edges to the inside to make it look like an envelope. There. Suddenly you have an envelope. So that's how you're making your envelopes with a square piece. Flip it so that the long edge of your envelope is at the top. Bring this point in to meet this centerfold here. So bring this tip right to the edge of that folded piece and crease. So now you have a piece that looks like this. So we're to this point where we had that envelope. We brought the other side to meet this tucked side. So I wanted to make sure that my vertical line, one of those folds that we made earlier, meet and match up to vertical line to fold. So there's my point, and then I'm going to open up this tip and flip it over on its short side. And that's what creates your perfect, kind of like your tip of a mountain, like a snow cap. Okay, so that's how your sheet should look. Bring the bottom up to meet the base of that snow cap and fold. So it should look like this. So it looks like you now have 3 snow caps at the top. Flip it over. Bring your bottom edge to meet the top edge. Open that up, flip it on the side, bring the bottom of this triangle up to its tip of the triangle, and fold. Open that up and do the last side. The bottom of this triangle to meet the tip of that triangle and fold. So we've made all our folds. We're going to open this up and you'll now see the shape of our box, and I'll outline that for you. Now you see the base of the box. One side is actually wider than the other. That's by design, because this needs to be bigger than the base so that the base can actually, or this could cover the base. Okay, so with this one, just like the base, we're going to fold back the edges of our box just so we can see where the edges will be. Okay, open up the sides, and with your base of the box horizontal, bring in those sides. So it looks like that. Flip it over and glue these triangles down. So you're glued down. Flip it over, and let's put the wider side on top here, just so it's visual. Bring in your sides. And just like the other one, we're now going to form the diagonals from the edge of the box to the edge of the paper to the very corner. So from corner to corner, corner to corner. We're actually going to make the envelope on the wider side of the box. So you're going to pinch in, bring in the 2 shorter sides. You can see how it's already forming. And the diagonals we just made naturally want to kind of fold in. So I just pinch them with my thumb, forefinger, just to reinforce. and bend them backwards. It's 2 triangles down on the outside of the box. So I'll go ahead and glue this first flap down. The next flap we're not going to glue just yet. But we'll bend it over, form the edge of your box, and then glue it to the bottom. So the bottom is starting to look like an envelope, just like the base did. Let your diagonals do the work for you. Bring in the side, pinch, pinch, and then bend it backwards towards the outside of the box. And again, your folds are already there, so just follow your folds. Of course, more glue is probably better, just to help strengthen your box. Then your folds are already there, so just bend it backwards, and you'll see naturally where. But we're not going to glue it down to this piece. Take this flap, and we're going to marry it to your bottom. So this is the top and this is the bottom. Bottom is the shorter one. So go ahead and nudge the smaller box inside. And if we made our folds right, it should fit. And then you're going to glue the last flap on the top piece to the bottom of the bottom. So that's how the bottom of the 2 boxes look. The top looks ugly because this will actually get glued to your cover. If you open it up, that's where you can reinforce the glue and your edges. That's how it should look without your cover. So remember how we just made this cover using the traditional just fold, no measure way? Perfectly. Yay, and it has room with your hollow spine, right? So that's the traditional way, and you would just glue the top and the bottom. But before I do that, I'm going to show you a way where if you can't do any more folds, or this one was a little harder to follow, because I'll admit it did take me a lot of practice. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this box and I'm going to cheat a little. I'm going to look at the size of the box and kind of make my folds by following the box, if that makes sense. See how I just did that? See, there are my creases. I'm going to go ahead and fold at those creases. Okay, so that should fit the height of your box. Barely. Still barely. I think the other way probably was a little bit better. Just, oh, look at that. It's basically an inch. So I'm just gonna make those folds nice and clean where I kind of creased it for at the box edge. Yeah, it's a little more than an inch, but that's okay. Let's see. Yeah, okay. So we have our hollow spine. Now let's fold our edges. Not too much, just enough so that it comes to the edge of your box. Is it still origami if we're not doing all the folds? Somebody tell me, are we cheating origami? But it's still so satisfying. So now I'm gonna glue down my flaps. Okay, so I'm just gonna glue the top of the box lid to the front of the cover. I'm actually filming this in the evening when the sun's already going down with my new canvas cell phone and light stand, where your phone is just actually attached to the light. And it was expensive, but I think it's worth it because my phone is just magnetically attached to the canvas stand, and it's not coming off at all. So it's really staying nice and put, and I don't get the weird shadows like I did with my other tripod clamp. That means I can now film when it's raining and or after evening hours if I'm running behind schedule, which is normally for every project. I'm not sponsored by them or anything at all. It's just I know the pains of being a creator and maker and how we're slaves to daylight. So see, there's fewer lines because we didn't do the origami folds. You'll see my glue spots because I just want to glue it in front of you real time just to show you. Look at that. We just saved ourselves probably 15-20 minutes. Now I'm gonna let this dry and I'll be back. Okay, so there's our origami box, book box, hollow spine book box. I will show you the difference between cheating a little and just folding around your box, finished box edges, is it's rather imperfect unless you go back and really want to precisely measure. I just did it for you on camera. So here's one where I followed the folds exactly per the tutorial, and then here's the one I just kind of measured over the box itself. It's not as precise. It's a little harder. Actually, you can make it more like a book by giving your little edges like that. And then you're just gonna make sure your spine is a little more hollow and rounded. There you go. That's more like a real book. Yes, that. So you could say you meant to do that. Look at that. Yeah, I meant to do that. Just like a real book. What I'm going to do next, oops, sorry about the shake, is I'm actually going to finish the box by adding all 27 or 28 boxes that I'm going to gift. I'm going to make sure each box actually has its finished look because I will be selling this one. And then I'm going to fill them, and I'm actually going to finish decorating the outside of the box, giving it the rest of the windows and the red awnings and the red ribbon. And next and last video of this tutorial, I'll come back and show you how to finalize decorating your box and how it looks in with it all finished with the closure and everything. So anyway, thanks for sticking with me. I know it's a pretty extensive tutorial on my part. So thanks for staying, thanks for supporting me, and I'll see you part 4, the finale for this Advent calendar.